After spending 2 years with the medical team supporting impoverished countries, my term was finally over, and next month was supposed to be my wedding. I finished quarantine and quietly returned home, hoping to surprise my fiancé. But what I found was a pile of over 100 wedding planning books on the coffee table. The groom was him, but the bride wasn't me. I rushed to find him. As soon as I stepped into the hospital, I witnessed my boyfriend, the deputy director, proposing to someone else. "Flora, will you marry me? Our grand wedding next month is missing a bride." The hospital erupted into thunderous applause and cheers from doctors, nurses, and patients alike. His gaze was filled with tenderness and anticipation, making me, standing in the corner, weary from travel, too afraid to take another step forward. Since I wasn't the leading lady in his story, I might as well give them the wedding. Yet after I disappeared, he went crazy trying to find me. The proposal scene, decorated with roses, somehow blended seamlessly with the hospital's antiseptic smell. Jerry, kneeling on one knee, looked just as upright and confident as he did when he proposed to me 2 years ago. But the person standing across from him wasn't me. "Flora, will you marry me?" he asked again. Flora covered her mouth in shock, her other hand trembling as she reached out. A sparkling diamond ring slipped onto her finger. They embraced tightly and kissed passionately. Despite the noise of the cheering crowd, the intimacy of their kiss echoed clearly in my ears. I couldn't help but rub the engagement ring Jerry had given me before I left. He once said that as long as I wore the ring he had personally engraved, I would always be his wife. But the ring had been too small. So, he handcrafted a chain and sent it across the ocean, telling me to wear the ring as a necklace, keeping it close to my heart. After so many years, the red cord had grown fragile. With a slight tug, it snapped. The ring, now free, slipped from my neck and rolled to Jerry's feet. He glanced at it briefly, picked it up, and casually tossed it into the trash can, just like he had discarded the 10 years of love I had given him. After Flora said yes, Jerry gestured grandly, and a nurse began handing out small gifts to everyone present. Amid the endless stream of blessings, the two of them walked past me, fingers intertwined. I clutched the small gift in my hand and nervously adjusted my mask higher over my face. "Jerry, wasn't the wedding supposed to be for my sister?" Flora asked playfully. "Silly girl, you think someone like her deserves the grand wedding I prepared?" Jerry snorted, brushing the tip of Flora's nose affectionately. "After spending 2 years in that poor country, she's probably a mess by now. Every time she video called me, I couldn't even stand to look, I was afraid I'd throw up. But Jerry, if my sister comes back and finds out I'm the bride, won't she kill me?" Jerry chuckled indulgently. "With me here, who would dare to say a word to the future director's wife? Why not make her your bridesmaid? She loves you so much, she'll definitely agree. Letting her be the bridesmaid is already a gesture of kindness. After all, I'm still family to her," he said, pulling Flora in for a kiss right in front of me. Even as they left, Jerry never once recognized me under the mask, just as he had failed to recognize the ring he tossed away. I returned home, humiliated, and packed my things. At the hotel, I called my medical team leader. "Captain, I want to sign up for the next medical mission." The captain, both delighted and confused, asked, "Weren't you back to prepare for your wedding? Isn't your husband going to miss you?" I scratched at the itchy red rashes on my skin caused by an allergy. It was unbearable, but nothing hurt more than my heart. The wedding is off. From now on, I'll just focus on being a doctor and saving lives. Sensing something was wrong, the captain, who had always treated me kindly, sighed softly. "Welcome back to the team. When you're busy saving lives, there's little time to dwell on other things. To be honest, you were the only one in the team who never had a visitor in 2 years. No matter how busy Jerry was, he could have come at least once. If he didn't, it just means he stopped loving you long ago. If someone doesn't love you anymore, why not let him go?" If I hadn't seen those piles of wedding plans or witnessed the grand proposal, I might still have had the confidence to insist that Jerry loved me deeply. For 2 years, like a fool, I poured my heart out to him, constantly telling him how much I missed him and begging him to visit me. But compared to those wedding books, my longing and desperate pleas were nothing but a joke. On the way to the hospital, I kept convincing myself that Jerry was just taking extra care of Flora because she was my younger sister. But the moment I saw him on one knee proposing to her, I could no longer deceive myself. I had imagined countless scenarios where Jerry might fall for someone else during our 2 years apart. I just never expected that someone else to be my own sister, 7 years younger, and that he would humiliate me by asking me to be their bridesmaid. I stood under the hot shower for half an hour before my body finally stopped trembling. Then, as if on cue, Jerry called me. "Hedda, I heard you're back. Are you home yet?" I said nothing. Jerry grew anxious. "Are you already home?" "I just arrived at a hotel," I replied coldly. He sighed in relief and softened his voice. "Which hotel?" "I'll come find you." He didn't ask why I hadn't gone home. Because he didn't want me to see those wedding plans. When Jerry knocked on my door, I had just opened it to collect my takeout. Seeing Flora standing behind him, I kept my voice distant and detached. "What do you want?" Inside, though, I was screaming. Was he so obsessed with Flora that he couldn't leave her side for even a moment? Jerry, looking uneasy, rubbed his fingers together. "Flora wanted to see you. She insisted I bring her over to have a family dinner together." I watched him act with cold indifference. "Won't my presence ruin her appetite?" "Hedda," he sighed, his voice suddenly softening. "I was young and foolish back then. I know I hurt you when you lost the baby. Can you forgive me?" He kept giving me meaningful glances, silently begging me to play along. I lifted my chin and asked bitterly, "So, you came here just to ask me to forgive her?" Because I was the only survivor of that car accident, Flora blamed me for our father's death and our mother's deteriorating health. Our family was destroyed, didn't it hurt me too? But Flora still drugged me, causing me to bleed out and nearly die, leaving me unable to have children in the future. I wasn't about to humiliate myself by asking why Jerry fell for her. That would be too pathetic. Jerry's guilty conscience vanished under my silent protest. Flora was just a kid back then. She didn't know the drug would hurt you. She's felt guilty for years and has already apologized. Why are you still holding on to the past? Drugging me, causing me to lose my baby, and stealing my phone to stop me from calling an ambulance, all of that was now simply the past. And because I refused to forgive Flora, I was labeled petty. He was the one who rushed me to the hospital when I was unconscious. No one knew better than him how the pain of losing my child had haunted me ever since. But none of that mattered. He still fell for Flora and tossed me aside like I was nothing. Jerry tried to take my hand and place it in Flora's, hoping for reconciliation. I slapped his hand away and snapped, "What right do you have to ask me to forgive her? I spent all my wages putting her through school, gave her everything I could, and took care of her like my own child. And how did she repay me? By trying to kill me." Jerry frowned, clearly displeased. "I'm doing this for your own good. Your mother's health is unpredictable. If anything happens to her, Flora will be the only family you have left. Given your condition, who knows if you'll ever be able to have children again? Flora is the sister you raised yourself. Do you really want to cut her off completely? What's done is done. The living are what matter, right?" His tone was sincere, but his face, usually so patient, now showed a familiar trace of irritation. The warmth and care I once knew were gone. I felt my already broken heart shatter into pieces. And the resentment hidden beneath Flora's tear-filled eyes was the same as ever. "It doesn't matter if you don't forgive me," she said, voice trembling. "I will keep repenting and feeling guilty until you do. Get out." I gripped the door handle tightly to stop my hands from shaking. Jerry's patience finally snapped. "Hedda, it was just a baby. Do you really need to hold a grudge for years? Once we're married, I'll give you another one. Isn't that enough?" He had seen me lying unconscious in a pool of my own blood. Back then, he held me and wept over the child we lost. He even swore to cut Flora out of our lives. Now, he was telling me he could just give me another child, as if that could erase everything. I let the pain drown me as I spoke each word carefully. "Unless she can bring that baby back to life, I will never forgive her." His jaw clenched, fists tightening at his sides. He looked like he was barely holding himself back. It was the same expression he wore when he used to stand up for me, scolding Flora for her rebelliousness. But now, it was directed at me. "Hedda. Fine, don't forgive her. But you need to apologize to Flora. I don't want people laughing at my fiancé for being a cruel woman who can't even tolerate her own sister. You're a doctor. You didn't watch what you ate while you were pregnant and couldn't even tell there was something in your water. Are you really saying you hold no responsibility for losing that baby? Yes, she made a mistake by drugging you. But if you can't even forgive your own sister, then maybe you deserve to be infertile for the rest of your life. He spat out the words, his voice shaking with anger, his eyes bloodshot. And in that moment, I caught the flash of disgust on his face. So, the man who once swore to love me forever had changed his heart because I might never be able to have children? The very pain and suffering he once comforted me through had now become the weapon he used to destroy me. Once, if I so much as looked sad about our lost baby, he would hold me and whisper, "Hedda, as long as I'm here, it doesn't matter if we have kids or not." He pulled me out of the darkness once. Now, he was the one dragging me back into it. And for Flora, he was willing to curse me, saying I would never have children again. I trembled with rage, barely able to contain myself as I tried to push them out the door. Jerry grabbed my arm to stop me and only then noticed the red rash spreading across my skin. He immediately stepped back, putting 3 feet of space between us. Is this an allergy, or is it something contagious? He realized how cold he sounded and quickly softened his tone. Never mind. We're family, no point holding grudges. I won't force you to apologize, but you need to treat Flora better from now on. I pointed to the door, my voice ice cold. Get out. Jerry knew I was too fragile to push further. He hesitated as if he wanted to hold me but didn't dare touch me. Flora took a few steps back, then suddenly shouted, "If I can't bring your baby back, I'll pay for it with my life." With that, she ran toward the window at the end of the hallway. Jerry let go of me and sprinted after her, pulling her into his arms. "Flora, don't do anything stupid." They clung to each other on the floor, sobbing like we once did when we lost our child. I shut the door and collapsed against it, exhausted. Just one door between us, but it felt like an unbridgeable chasm had opened between the two people who had loved each other for a decade. I pulled out my phone and booked a flight for the day of their wedding. 10 days. Enough time to tie up the loose ends of the past. Jerry was right, the past is over. My father gave his life to save me. I owed it to him to live brightly. I returned all the wedding items I had personally prepared. This city was no longer my home. Lying in bed, I deleted every photo and video of us. Every message I had sent to Jerry, thousands of love notes meant only for him, I erased them all. With each deletion, the version of me who loved him so deeply faded away. 10 years of love, wiped out like a dream. The next morning, his call woke me up. "Hedda, I made you a doctor's appointment. Go get your skin checked." Okay. If he wanted to play the role of a caring fiancé, I would play along. When the doctor confirmed it was just an allergy, Jerry visibly relaxed and sat beside me. "I made you breakfast. After you eat, we'll go try on wedding dresses. Oh, and Flora will be your bridesmaid." So, during the 2 years I was away, the man who had never set foot in a kitchen had learned to cook. The breakfast was beautiful and smelled delicious, but it tasted like ash in my mouth. "Flora's feeling better now. Try not to upset her again," he added, leaning closer, his eyes darkening with desire. Humiliated and furious, I slapped him hard across the face. He covered his face in disbelief. "You came back without telling me in advance, didn't return home, and now you won't even let me touch you?" If I were truly some filthy, diseased woman, he would have thought I wasn't even worthy of eating the food he cooked. But now, he's blaming me for not letting him touch me. Our eyes met in silence. The awkwardness was broken by the ringing of his phone. But all I could taste was bitterness. I used to want my voice as his GPS navigation sound, but he adamantly refused. Now, he actually set Flora's sweet, playful laugh as his ringtone. Feeling guilty, he stole a few glances at me, hesitated for a moment, then said, "You were gone for 2 years. Flora suddenly matured. She won't throw tantrums with you anymore." As if he didn't already know why she suddenly matured and stopped throwing tantrums. When we stepped into the bridal shop, Flora ran straight into Jerry's arms. Then, in the next second, she lowered her head cautiously, like a child who had done something wrong, and apologized to me. "You're not actually jealous, are you, my dear sister?" I let out a soft chuckle, laced with sarcasm. "I can tell Jerry has been taking great care of you." Even though I resented Flora, before I left, I still reminded Jerry to look after her. Who would have thought he'd take care of her so well that he made her his wife? When the store manager brought out a wedding dress and a bridesmaid's gown, Flora covered her mouth in astonishment. "This is gorgeous." A diamond-studded wedding dress, of course, it was gorgeous. "Can I try on your wedding dress?" Before I could respond, Jerry had already opened the fitting room door, ushering Flora inside. "Hedda, why don't you try on the bridesmaid's dress first?" To avoid an awkward moment alone, I stepped into the fitting room. When I came out, all of Jerry's attention was on Flora. He was mesmerized, intoxicated, as if he were admiring a priceless treasure. Love speaks through the eyes. 10 years ago, he looked at me the same way when he confessed his love. Seeing Flora in the wedding dress like a goddess, the store manager immediately called a photographer over to take pictures of her and Jerry, claiming it was for store promotion. Jerry glanced at me, forcing down the smile tugging at his lips. "Hedda, we'll finish our shoot first, then you can try it on." "Okay." And just like that, I sat on the couch for nearly 2 hours. Only when Flora was exhausted did she finally say she was done. Jerry, ever the gentleman, removed her high heels and, without a hint of disgust, massaged the soles of her feet. He did it so naturally, as if he'd done it 1,000 times before. And yet, he still had the audacity to smile and explain to me. "Hedda, it's a good thing you didn't try on the wedding dress. You're not in great health, you wouldn't have been able to handle it." I played along. "Thank you for your hard work. Can I leave now?" After watching them flaunt their love, I no longer felt pain. Hearing that, Flora's eyes suddenly turned red. "It's my fault. I just really love this dress. I'll take it off right now and give it back to you." "No need. This dress was made just for you. If you like it, it's yours. It matches your diamond ring perfectly." Jerry shot me a fierce glare before hurrying to console the now tearful Flora. "Hedda said she's giving it to you, she means it. Don't overthink it. You agree, don't you, Hedda?" Jerry raised his voice, as if trying to use his authoritative tone to pressure me into comforting Flora. "Yes. Even if you loved Jerry, I'd give him to you too. That was my honest truth." "I knew it. You'll never forgive me." "Hedda, if you hate me so much, I'll atone with my life." Still in the wedding dress, Flora ran off crying, ignoring Jerry's shouts for her to stop. Jerry's once warm and gentle face turned ice cold. "Do you realize how disgusting you look right now? She's your sister. Do you have to push her to the brink?" I was stunned. What did I do wrong? His lips pressed into a tight line as he stared at Flora's retreating figure. "I'll go calm her down. You go pick out a diamond ring you like and charge it to my card. There's no need for a proposal. Given my status now, playing romantic like a young man wouldn't suit me. The store manager took plenty of pictures of me and Flora earlier. I'll have them swap her face with yours, so we don't have to retake our wedding photos." "Alright, no problem." Jerry opened his mouth as if to explain, but no words came out. After a few seconds, he gently pulled me into an embrace. "Hedda, after the wedding, I'll take you on a honeymoon. I've already planned everything." His so-called honeymoon felt more like an insult. Among the hundreds of wedding planning books and countless honeymoon itineraries, the bride had never been me. He shot a quick glance at Flora, who was already disappearing from sight, then unbuttoned his suit and sprinted down the street. Like a man racing after his runaway bride. Jerry gave me the code to our marital home but didn't contact me for 3 days. Because he was using meetings as an excuse to accompany Flora on a wedding photoshoot trip. And he really did have someone swap my face with Flora's in the photos, using them to brush me off. I had already decided to leave. I would follow the medical team to volunteer in impoverished countries. If I ever saw my mother again, it would be 2 years later. When I arrived at the nursing home, I hesitated at the door. Because, like Flora, my mother blamed me for my father's death. I stood outside the room, listening to familiar laughter that stabbed through my heart. "Jerry, I'm leaving Flora in your hands. You must never let her down. Don't worry. Flora is my everything. I will never fail her." His once familiar vow was repeated, but this time, the woman he vowed to never fail wasn't me. Unable to help myself, I glanced into the room. My mother placed Flora's hand in Jerry's, as if entrusting her to him on her deathbed. "I won't be able to attend your wedding, but I wish you both a lifetime of happiness. If Hedda dares to ruin your wedding, I will die in front of her. Their laughter filled the room as I staggered away. My father was gone. I no longer had a home. The day before the wedding, Jerry came to see me with a bouquet of roses, asking why I hadn't gone home. I took an allergy pill and coldly asked, "I thought you didn't want to act romantic like a young man?" He froze for a second, then ruffled my hair. "We're getting married tomorrow, it has to be romantic." But the person he wanted to be romantic with was never me. The sudden smile on his lips wasn't for me either. He was thrilled that I would be there as the bridesmaid to bless their love. In just 2 years, he had forgotten I was allergic to roses. The next day, I went to the wedding venue and took a walk around. The giant poster only magnified the sloppy edit of my face replacing Flora's in the wedding photos. I tore it down, revealing their stunning, real wedding photos underneath. Throwing the fake wedding photos into the trash, I headed straight for the airport. As the flight attendant reminded me to turn off my phone, Jerry and my mother's calls came flooding in. I turned off my phone, pulled the blanket over me, and went to sleep. I didn't need to guess how my mom would curse me out, I already knew. And as for how Jerry would scold me? I couldn't care less. Supporting underprivileged countries was our shared dream. Since he had just been promoted to deputy director of the hospital and was swamped with work, I took on the responsibility of pursuing our dream and left for Africa. He had promised me with a ring, saying, "When you return with glory, that will be the day I marry you." But when that day finally came, he chose to marry someone else. I couldn't help but wonder, when he pushed so hard for me to go abroad, had he already planned to break up with me? Or was he genuinely hoping I would fulfill the dream we once shared? My thoughts were a tangled mess, impossible to sort out. Had the past 10 years of love been nothing but a foolish dream on my part? When the plane landed, I knew it was time to go where I was truly needed. The medical team leader and my colleagues came forward to greet me. "Hedda. Welcome back." Dressed in their white coats and holding fresh flowers, each of them gave me a warm, heartfelt hug. In this country, our medical team was as respected as celebrities. A crowd gathered around us, bowing in gratitude. Back at our familiar base, the local children laughed and ran off to spread the news of my return. The sense of being needed and loved filled the emptiness inside me. After all, we are human, who wouldn't be moved by kindness? Even children in a foreign land appreciated what I had done for them. Yet, my own family treated me like an enemy. I didn't even realize my face was wet with tears until the team leader wrapped an arm around my shoulder, his expression kind and gentle, as he reminisced about my first days here. "You see," he said, "this world may be broken, but there will always be people working to patch it up. Every small thing we do carries meaning." Out of nowhere, Grace, a young nurse with a mischievous smile, popped a piece of candy into my mouth. "The ones who betray true love deserve to swallow 1,000 needles, she declared. "But your life should be sweet." Grace used to envy the love Jerry and I shared for 10 long years. I still remember how she would lie beside me, wide-eyed, dreaming of her own Prince Charming. But my failure shattered her most romantic fantasies about love. Trying to cheer me up, Grace handed me a dessert with a playful grin. "Hedda," she said, "love only slows down a woman's sword. We should focus on becoming the best doctors and earning the admiration of the world." One by one, the others followed suit, presenting me with small, thoughtful gifts to lift my spirits. Ever since I saw Jerry propose to Flora, I had been struggling to hold myself together. But their kindness broke the dam. I stopped pretending to be strong and let all my suppressed pain and grievances pour out. After my father died, it was Jerry who helped me survive the darkest days of my life. When my mother, lying in a hospital bed, cursed me for not dying instead of my father, it was Jerry who stood by my side, enduring her wrath and caring for her needs. When Flora, like a parasitic leech, drained me dry while constantly stirring up trouble, it was Jerry who helped me clean up her mess. Before I left the country, I had been clear with Jerry. These 2 years apart will be a test for us. If you ever stop loving me, just tell me directly. I'll give you my blessing. At the time, he held me like he was losing a part of himself, crying like a fool. "Hedda," he had said, "my heart will always belong to you. Go chase your dreams, and I'll take care of your family. When you come back, I'll be here waiting to marry you." His promises still echoed in my ears. Yet the man who made them had already changed. I thought that when I returned, we would begin a new chapter of happiness together. Instead, he ended our story and started a new one with Flora. After crying my heart out, the weight on my chest finally began to lift. The agonizing pain deep in my bones started to fade. That evening, the team leader took us to the biggest restaurant in town. Surrounded by laughter and clinking glasses, we celebrated my escape from a worthless man. Just as we were finishing our meal, the lights suddenly went out. I gasped, but my surprise was drowned out by the warm glow of candles and the sound of everyone singing "Happy Birthday." Only then did I realize, today was my birthday. Wrapped in their love and warmth, I felt a flicker of gratitude toward life. Maybe the world wasn't so cruel after all. By the time the celebration ended, it was already the middle of the night back home. Lying in bed, I finally turned my phone back on. Jerry was probably busy cuddling his new bride right now. As soon as the phone powered up, it buzzed with hundreds of missed calls from him and my mother, more calls than he had made during our entire 2 years of long distance. Messages poured in one after another. Annoyed by the barrage, I was about to turn the phone off again when Jerry's call came through. "Hedda, you finally answered. Where have you been? I called and texted, but you ignored me. We were about to call the police. Disappearing on my wedding day, aren't you too old to be playing these childish games? What are you trying to prove?" His accusatory tone made me want to hang up immediately. "Why aren't you saying anything? You've been back for days and haven't even come home once. Do I need to come and get you myself?" I couldn't understand his anger. What did he want from me? Did he expect me to stand there and be humiliated as he turned me from the bride-to-be into the bridesmaid? Was he mad because my absence had somehow ruined his perfect wedding? When I had appendicitis in Africa and sent him a message for comfort, he never once called to check on me. But now, when I refused to play along with his charade, he suddenly cared? "Jerry," I said coldly, "congratulations on your marriage. But I have no interest in being Flora's bridesmaid." I could hear his heavy breathing on the other end of the line, his frustration barely contained. "Hedda, what the hell are you talking about? Who asked you to be a bridesmaid? Did you misunderstand something? I waited for you all day at the wedding venue. None of your teammates would answer my calls. It was like you all vanished into thin air." His audacity was infuriating. Even now, he had the nerve to deny everything. People say that a guilty man often hides behind anger. But I knew Jerry too well, he was genuinely furious. Maybe he was just mad that my disappearance had turned his wedding into a joke. I scrolled through the videos my former colleagues had sent me from his wedding. Seeing him hand in hand with Flora, smiling as they walked down the aisle, made me sick. "Jerry," I said icily, "you planned to humiliate me at my own wedding. Was I not allowed to skip the show? Shouldn't you be thanking me for leaving quietly and saving you the trouble?" My cold tone drove him into a fury. "If you're not thinking clearly, you should see a neurologist. I've been planning this grand wedding for 2 years, and you just decide to run away without a word. What do you think that makes me feel? I know you saw me propose to Flora, but that was just practice, a rehearsal for when I propose to you. Can you stop being so sensitive?" This was the first time I had heard that proposing to another woman while kissing her passionately was just practice, and that it hadn't been carried out on the lead actress, me. His denial only disgusted me further. "When you proposed to her, I was right beside you. I watched you two kiss twice without a care, and I could even see the saliva stream between you. The wedding dress wasn't even made for me. The bride in all the 100 wedding planning books wasn't me. You had no time to take wedding photos with me, but you had time to do a travel shoot with her during a meeting break. You never took the initiative to contact me, but you cook for her every day. You wanted me to show up at the wedding just to fulfill your promise to become part of my family. So I leave, and I give you your wedding. Shouldn't you be happy? Brother-in-law? Why do you have to make me expose all this and make things ugly for both of us? Or do you think I should just play along with your little act and prove that you two are true love?" Jerry was stung by my calling him brother-in-law and his anger softened. "It's not like that. Please come back, and I'll explain everything." What was there to explain? Explain that after I'd been living in a poor country for 2 years, I had become an unkempt, yellow-faced woman? Explain that everyone had been helping him keep his affair with another woman a secret? I couldn't go back, but he had all the time in the world to come visit me in this country. But what did he do instead? He traveled everywhere with Flora but couldn't even spare a minute for a video call with me or say, "I miss you." I was busy helping the poor, and he was busy sleeping with my sister. How ironic. The facts were right in front of him, but he still kept arguing. If he truly cared, he would have noticed something was off with me long ago. I loved him with all my heart. How could I have chosen to stay in a hotel rather than come home to him? How low must I have seemed to him for him to think that a few words of explanation could erase all his betrayals? Hedda, I was wrong. It was Flora who fell in love with me and threatened to die if I didn't marry her. Your mom was the same. I can't even imagine how painful it would be for you to lose a loved one again. I was forced into this. I know you're hurting now. Tell me where you are, and I'll come get you and take you home, okay? I couldn't help but laugh bitterly. Jerry, do you think this is some kind of joke? If he hadn't wanted it, no woman would have dared to climb into his bed. A female nurse had tried to seduce him once, but he scolded her so badly that she quit her job and left nursing. Flora's fake suicide threats? I'd seen them 100 times, and he still used them as an excuse. Scrolling through the news online, I learned that his plea for reconciliation was just another scheme for his own gain. Hedda, I didn't lie to you. When you didn't show up at the wedding, I panicked. I admit I was drawn to Flora's youthful energy. She reminded me of the young you, but the person I truly love is still you. Tell me where you are, and I'll prepare a grand proposal and wedding to fulfill the promise we made when we were young. When he said forever in the same breath, his voice trembled with emotion. After 10 years of love, only after I had completely given up did he remember the promises of the past. But that heart that had once loved him was long gone. I wouldn't spend my life with a man who had betrayed me so easily. The things I once wanted from him now meant nothing when he offered them back to me. Jerry, stop lying to yourself. Yes, we once loved each other, but now that love is gone. You just want to use me to salvage your reputation. My love should never become the sword you use to hurt me. Hedda, I shouldn't have taken your love for granted. Before, you always followed my lead, but this time, it's me who wants to get you back. His persistence bored me. If you truly feel guilty, then take care of my mom and my sister. Consider it your way of fulfilling your duty. But as for me and you, we don't need to see each other again for the rest of our lives. I hung up the phone and blocked him. After being deceived by the one I loved most for 2 years, I only wanted to live for myself from now on. As the sun rose, my busy work made me feel grounded. After successfully saving a woman from a difficult delivery, she asked me to name her child. I later became the little girl's godmother. The sleeping infant held my hand tightly, and the smile on her face melted my heart. In this place with scarce medical resources, saving both the mother and child was nothing short of a miracle. In that moment, I was once again moved by life and proud of myself. The medical team shuttled between the wards and worked tirelessly on the operating tables, saving one life after another. And I, through saving lives, had found myself again. Every patient regarded me with deep affection. My simple face, the scent of disinfectant on me, was their reassurance. The ones who truly loved me didn't care that I was practicing medicine in a poor country. They didn't think of me as an unkempt, ugly woman. Sadly, Jerry, who once shared my heart of medical compassion and boundless love, had not only lost his love for me but also his sense of what it meant to be a doctor. In the last 2 years, after being promoted to deputy director, his vanity grew bigger. Had it not been for someone who reported him on the day of the wedding, I wouldn't have known that he had led a falsification scandal in academics. There are no shortcuts in medicine. He was no longer the young man I once knew. His confession was just an attempt to use my glory to wipe away his shame. If I forgave him, he wouldn't be the heartless man. If I stood up for him, Flora wouldn't be the deceiver leading him astray. After all, everyone who knew us knew that I was Jerry's girlfriend. Half a month later, the person who should have been in the country, overwhelmed with work, appeared at the door of my clinic. Jerry stood there holding roses, silently watching me work with red eyes. I was so busy that I couldn't spare a moment to acknowledge him. Only after I finished with my last patient and was too exhausted to stand up did Jerry immediately come over, wanting to rub my back. I quickly stopped him. Jerry, we've broken up. There's a line between men and women. Don't cross it. He was silent for a long time before finally calling my name in a hoarse voice. Hedda. His thin face was filled with longing and regret. Hedda, I was wrong. I never thought you would have to suffer so much. I shouldn't have looked down on you or been deceived by Flora. I brushed the roses aside and reminded him coldly. If you keep chasing me like this, Flora will be heartbroken. And by the way, I'm allergic to roses, so please stay away from me. Jerry's face turned pale when he heard that. He finally remembered that I was allergic to roses, and immediately tossed Flora's favorite roses into the trash can in the distance. Then, like a child who had made a mistake, he lowered his head and nervously twisted the hem of his shirt, pleading with me. Hedda, when I first agreed to Flora's proposal, I only wanted to humor her. I thought once she understood her feelings, she would stop obsessing over me, but I missed you so much. I saw the younger version of you in her, and I couldn't help but develop feelings for her. I really just saw her as a substitute for you, and that's why I fell so deeply. I swear, from beginning to end, the only person I've loved is you. His clumsy lies, no matter how well crafted, I could never believe anymore. After all, as long as I didn't provide evidence, he would forever believe he hadn't been caught. Jerry, I just went abroad, not isolated from the world. Do you really think I don't keep up with the news back home? Now you're trying to win me back, aren't you just hoping to use my reputation to cover up your academic fraud? From the moment you chose Flora, there's no turning back for us. I would never make a statement for someone who betrayed their principles. Hedda, you've misunderstood. I admit to all the charges. I'm willing to give up my future just to stay by your side. Wherever you go from now on, I'll be there. You once said you took 99 steps for me, and that you would always be there as long as I turned around. Now, I'll take the final step for you. I had said that before. But the final step between us was a chasm. An insurmountable gap. Even if time could turn back, we would never walk together again. He didn't see Flora as a substitute. He was just selfishly attracted to her youth and beauty. He neither loved me nor loved Flora. When Jerry was dismissed, Flora distanced herself from him to protect her own interests. Their grand love story wasn't so grand after all. Jerry stubbornly held on to me, refusing to let go. Seeing him cling to me, my colleagues came over to mock him. Aren't you the powerful vice director? Why would you humble yourself here? Must be escaping, since he's been criticized so badly. Did your new lover dump you, and now you're back to find your old flame? Too bad, Hedda doesn't pick up trash. The frustration that everyone had been holding back came out in full force toward Jerry. Jerk, get away. If you touch Hedda again, I'll break your hand. Grace saw Jerry and instantly became furious. Jerry shifted his gaze to those who were insulting him. Though humiliated, he gritted his teeth and continued to apologize. Do you have to humiliate me like this? If it means you'll forgive me, I'll accept your insults. I took a deep breath and said slowly. Do you know how ugly you look right now? If I look at you one more second, I might just throw up. His face turned ashen from hearing those familiar words. How could you be so heartless? After 10 years of relationship, you just throw it away like it's nothing. What do you take me for? I was startled by his scream, wondering if he had lost his mind. Was this his way of admitting his mistakes and asking for forgiveness? Now, just a few sarcastic remarks from others, and he couldn't take it. What about the betrayal over the last 2 years? I didn't want to argue with him over right and wrong. From the moment I decided to escape the marriage, everything between us was over. The past is gone, go away. He grabbed my arm and refused to let go. Everyone makes mistakes. Can't you give me another chance? I promise I won't lie to you again. I've paid enough medical bills for your mom, and I've cut ties with Flora. What more do you want me to do for you to forgive me? He took a sparkling diamond ring from his pocket, knelt down on one knee. Hedda, marry me, please? His posture overlapped with that day when he proposed to Flora. The image of them kissing passionately while calling me an ugly woman resurfaced. But now, I felt little. The hurt was so deep, so sudden, that I was immune now. Just as I was about to reject him, a small figure ran out. He snatched the ring and threw it into the trash can. Bully! You'll never hurt Hedda. Then, many children and their families gathered around. They glared at Jerry, clearly ready to fight if he didn't leave. Jerry gritted his teeth and, despite the humiliation, dove into the trash can full of discarded medical supplies to search for the ring. I immediately called security to stop him from causing a scene. 3 days later, Jerry collapsed in the scorching sun due to a high fever that wouldn't subside. Someone took him to the emergency room, but no one contacted me. My colleagues, in tacit agreement, didn't want me to see him and add to my worries. However, when Jerry woke up, he had a different idea. He had caught a virus while digging through the trash for the ring. If he were in the country, with advanced medical care, he wouldn't have to suffer. But in this underdeveloped country, he had to endure a lot if he wanted to recover. Yet, he refused any treatment, saying he would only accept help if it meant seeing me. Even though his childish actions angered me, my colleagues dared not make light of his life. When I entered the hospital room, he was delirious from the fever. He kept mumbling, "Hedda, Hedda. I was wrong, please forgive me." His lifeless eyes immediately lit up when he saw me. "You're here." His hoarse voice carried longing, as if he had been waiting for his beloved to return home. I quickly shook my head to clear my thoughts. "Cooperate with the treatment, or you'll only add to my trouble if you die from this." I was just stating the facts, but Jerry, as if broken, bit his lower lip until it bled. "Can you still not forgive me?" Hope flickered in his eyes again. "No." The hope shattered. "You really have no feelings for me at all? Why does it feel like I can't live without you? Don't you feel any pain?" I couldn't help but laugh. "Because the heart that loved you has already died." The pain was deep, but the memories of him kissing Flora in front of me, pretending I didn't exist, made it all the more unbearable. On the hospital bed, Jerry's body slumped. After staring at me for a long time, his pale face became almost translucent. He saw clearly that there was not a trace of love left in my eyes for him. We were so in love. How did we end up like this? This question, only he could answer. I did a routine checkup on him as a doctor and then went on to attend to the next patient. His painful cries echoed through the simple hospital room. But I didn't stop. There were more patients waiting for my care. The end.